Carrillo, Hollenbach. There are a lot of young players in the starting 11 for the second-year head coach of the Tigers. Stephanie Golan made the trip back to her home state, St. Charles, Missouri native, after 9 seasons at Minnesota. Meanwhile, for Mississippi State, it's a good friend of Stephanie Golan, James Armstrong. They're Peloton buddies. The two of them text each other, along with Matt Mott, the head coach at Ole Miss, send each other their Peloton workouts during the offseason. The whole text chain helping each other reach their goals. James Armstrong looking like he's pushing this Mississippi State team toward its goals in a big way, a program that was down when he took over and has broken out this year. Mizzou in the home white with gold shorts. Mississippi State in the traveling maroon. First chilly evening for a home Tigers game this year.
Yeah, it has cooled off a lot since the sun's gone down. And this is going to be an interesting battle here early in the formations, because Coach Armstrong says that he does like to employ the diamond as well and drop into a 4-4-1-1 at times. That'll drop back to a 4-4-2 at times, depending on who's got the ball and where they are in the field. And again, Missouri looking to counter that with this 4-2-3-1 lineup. It really is going to be interesting to see how the first few minutes pan out here, Nate, and to see if Missouri push forward and try and capitalize on being at home, or if they sit back a little bit and just see what Mississippi State are going to throw at them.
Of course, Missouri dealt with that diamond formation from Auburn, last ranked team that came to Columbia a couple of weeks ago, and the Tigers knocked off the visiting Tigers by 1-0. And James Armstrong trained, if you will, under Karen Hoppe,
That's
6
right.
years in Auburn as an assistant.
And that 4-2-3-1 that night really worked well for Coach Golan. That's how she set the team up, thinking that's the best way to thwart the so-called diamond. And they really did an excellent job that night and picked off a team that at the time was ranked. So very similar to tonight, in fact.
Now, certainly the expectations were much higher for Auburn coming into the season. One of the preseason favorites, certainly in the West Division. Mississippi State picked down toward the bottom of the conference in that bottom 5 where Missouri also was, but the Bulldogs proving those naysayers wrong early on this year. Little bit of a sloppy touch at the back from Riley Combs. Kylie Simmons tried to pounce on it. Instead, it goes back to the junior goalkeeper, Maddie Anderson, who has been fantastic so far this year. Just conceded multiple goals in a game for the first time all season on Sunday against LSU, but as we showed you, it didn't cost the Bulldogs, who still pulled out a 3-2 win.
And what you look for the Bulldogs is Elle McCaslin, number 9 for them. Here she is about to get on the ball. Coach Armstrong telling us today that he thinks she's the most underrated player in his team, which is a big shout really from the coach, but I really like the way she uses her height and her strength to hold up the ball, to move defenders around, and she is a real threat, I think, for the Bulldogs. Even though her goal-scoring record isn't probably what she or her coach would like it to be, he likes the work that she gets through and what she does for the team, and she is a real target for them when they're coming forward.
Nicely done by Grace Pettit to deny Maggie Wadsworth the opportunity to cross. Opportunity for Kylie Simmons with her back to goal. She got that away to the senior Jaden Easley, Missouri's only senior in the starting lineup, honored before the game. Part of the piecemeal senior night Mizzou is doing this year. Simmons knocked down, but a good, clean challenge to clear out the ball by Gwen Mummert, the graduate German. Had to be very clean in the penalty area there, Simon, and she was. Showed her experience.
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to ground in the box there, you've got to be sure that you're going to get the ball, and she certainly did get the ball there. Excellent tackle, but yeah, you've got to be certain, you've got to know you're going to get the ball or you're in big trouble.
There's McCaslin. Back for Olivia Buxton, true freshman. She's one of 2 Missouri natives in the team for Mississippi State this evening. The other one is Riley Combs, sophomore at the back. Buxton did not play in the win over LSU, so good to see her back out there. Another young Bulldog who is impressing, and it's a long list. Mummert to send in the free kick.
It's good delivery.
Pettit took that awkwardly, almost off the chin.
Yeah. Again,
Odeoye gets there.
you saw that too, Nate. It was a good delivery, looking for McCaslin there. She's the target when they play in a ball like that. And the delivery that Mississippi State has, you'll see it when they get a corner tonight with the McWhirter stepping up to take them. Their delivery, especially from set pieces and corners, is absolutely exceptional, something Missouri's really going to have to guard against tonight. And so far, Mississippi State have done most of the running in the early stages of this game.
Here's Combs. Delois let it run through creatively, but Wadsworth wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, it was a good idea, wasn't it?
Delois closes down on Easley, and it drifts out. But we mentioned what a great start Mississippi State has been off to. It's just a comprehensive transformation this year for the Bulldogs. They've already scored 20 goals after they had just 15 all of last season. A lot of that production has come from the younger players, and it's a big part of the reason they've built this 9-0-2 record. They've won their last 6, including all 3 so far in the SEC, and climbed up to a number 21 ranking.
And certainly they've started this game like a team that's undefeated, haven't they? They've looked confident on the ball. They've been knocking it around. They have had most of the possession, and they've done most of the attacking. They've been searching a little bit, although they haven't had a clear effort at goal yet. You can kind of see the way the next few minutes are going to go. Missouri really looking to feed off some scraps, maybe hit on the counter-attack if they're able to.
Look at that production, 80%
amazing
of those 20 goals, 16 of 20 from freshmen and sophomores. McCaslin, look at that burst of speed.
Yeah.
Odeoye, though, closes down with a good angle, and Catella's there to clean it up.
It's good defending again. McCaslin, just a fearless runner, and coach
Missouri just not able to knock the ball around with any consistency.
Coach Armstrong, I was going to say, Coach Armstrong said what he likes about his players, and especially McCaslin, is they go through the ball. Rather than stopping to make a tackle, they go through the ball, and there is a real difference. That's what he likes, certainly, about the play of his number 9.
There's KK Pavat, junior from Conway, Arkansas. It's interesting you make that point, Simon, because we heard something very similar from Darren Ambrose in the post-game interview last week after Missouri's lost 2-0 to Vanderbilt, where he spoke about running through the ball much the same way.
Well, they're both Yorkshiremen. And it's probably that's the way the game is played in Yorkshire for sure. And so they both probably came up playing the same way. But I really could relate to what they were saying about that. And there is a difference between how you tackle, a real distinction that both coaches can make.
Wadsworth trying to get on the end of that ball. Partially cleared to McCaslin. See if she can put something across. Still tangled on the byline, and it's out for Mississippi State corner, much to the chagrin of Grace Pettit. Gives us a chance to show you the 11 remaining unbeaten teams in Division I. 2 of them are in the SEC, and they are both in Mississippi.
How about that? Look at that, 11 teams. But I'm loving the 2-0-6 record there. That's fantastic. At Lincoln Memorial, at 2-0-6. Leola Marymount, actually, yeah. But that's great, 2-0-6.
Pettit gets her head to the corner. And an opportunity for Hannah Boughton. When she gets moving, she can be a terror. Has Jaden Easley with her through the middle. A lung-busting run by Jaden Easley, but the ball is right at Maisie Hodge.
And Boughton, who puts in such a lot of work for this team and has played so many minutes. Again, you saw her really on the counter-attack there, which is going to be Missouri's best chance, but then just wasted what would have been a great opportunity for Missouri on that counter-attack. Gave the ball away cheaply in the end with Easley in such a good position alongside her.
A pensive Stephanie Golan in the early going, but look at those Nikes on her feet, Simon. Bringing the swagger tonight.
Those are some sweet strides. That's a weakness, though, Nate, as you know, for me as trainers, as we call them.
Pettit gets her head to it first again. Missouri under the cosh, you could say, these first 9 minutes.
They have been under the cosh, and the only relief has been a couple of counterattacks. That was their best chance just a second or so ago there. Boughton on the break gave the ball away. But again, tonight, what you're seeing with Mississippi State, we talked about Elle McCaslin. She's really been causing a lot of problems for that back four of Missouri, especially the central defensive pairing of Kuteller and Pettit, who've been so good for Missouri this year. But really, McCaslin's given them a lot to think about, and she's a real handful.
Could be a busy night for those two in the center defense and the redshirt freshman goalkeeper, Bella Hollenbach. Good ball for Kylie Simmons, who just couldn't quite bring it under control. Missouri's first bit of concerted pressure tonight. Boughton keeps possession back to Carrillo. Sloppy pass toward Easley, but given right back. Missouri getting a second and now a third bite at the apple. Bulldogs able to bring it under control, and Hodge goes back to Mummert. Not as though the Bulldogs have beaten slouches in their 3 SEC wins either, starting with Arkansas, number 12 team in the country at the moment. Then Texas A&M on the road, not something that's done often. Leah Selm pulled that back nicely on Hodge, but couldn't get by her. And then LSU, all of them impressive. Clean sheets in those first two. Beating Arkansas was a wake-up call. I think in some ways, though, and we heard this on the halftime a couple of weeks ago from Marion Crowder and Ian Carey, in some ways that win over A&M on the road was even more impressive.
Yeah, I think it really was, because that is a tough place to go at the best of times, isn't it? And they managed to get the win, and that's the thing. The difference between these two teams is when you're undefeated, you find a way to win games when they're close, and when you are under the cosh, to go back to that term, Nate, you find a way to win. And that's what this Mississippi State team has been doing. Less experience in the Missouri team. They've been in every game pretty much until very often, as we talked about, late, and they have not been able to find that way to win.
Beautiful 1-2, Easley and Simmons. Jaden Easley, good ball towards Zukowski, but a nice recovery at the back end by the left back Pivot. Long effort from Hannah Boughton, and that asked a question in the end.
It did.
Maddie Anderson looked just a little bit stretched for a moment.
It's been Missouri's best sequence of play here. The last 3 or 4 minutes, they've really been in it. Really nice play there, wasn't it? A lovely 1-2. Here comes Easley steaming in. Good-looking cross. Zukowski wasn't quite able to get there. I think we'll get a look here at the shot and see just how close that was. It looked pretty close here. Like you said, Boughton, just for a second, that wasn't far away, was it? And the keeper was obviously worried there, scrambling across. Very relieved to see it drop just wide. But signs of life from this Missouri team who've really come into it here the last couple of minutes.
It's interesting because it was sort of similar for Missouri on Sunday, as Odioye is fouled by McCaslin. But Missouri was home this past Sunday against Vanderbilt and sort of had a similar story where they started slowly and grew into the game as the first half went on.
Yep, that's right. And just going back to the unbeaten record there, and we're looking at Leona Marymount there at 2-0-6. This goes back to what we were talking about with the coaches all season, that I thought the coaches here would like the fact that they can tie a game, but the coaches we've talked to don't like that, Nate.
No more overtime in college soccer.
But I thought that they would really like that, and I guess being English, I respect what LMU are doing there with their 6 ties. I mean, I respect that. Yeah, I mean, they fought hard, obviously, and ended up with games where you couldn't tell the two sides apart from each other, and there was nothing to choose between them. Therefore, it's a draw. I thought a lot of the coaches would like that because they don't end up playing overtime maybe, and then having another game a couple of days later. But the coaches we've talked to would rather go to overtime, and that surprised me.
Interesting free kick here for Missouri. Selm to take it. Not a bad delivery. Pettit's up for it and got it down on goal, but that's simple off the bounce for Maddie Anderson. Does that mean, Simon, with that line of logic in mind, that you might find the Arsenal Invincibles a little bit more impressive in the all-time great Premier League teams than others? How do they stack up against the Centurions, even if there are some losses involved?
Can I just go back and revise the statement I just made when you put it like that, please?
Change your mind now?
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. Pettit got up to that header, though, well, didn't she? There was just a glimpse of goal again there for Missouri.
Good little turn by Hodge, but Keegan Good was waiting for her.
That's a great pass.
Here's Simmons. She's past Mummert by half a step. Run out of an angle a little bit, and that ball, not a bad cross if that was the effort, but really out of an angle to shoot. Mummert did well there. Didn't force a challenge, just sort of kept on her hip all the way, and ran her out wide.
What a beautiful pass that was through, though, to set up that chance. And here you'll see it. The ball strikes loose, and there's Keegan Good slipping the ball through. Lovely ball right into the stride there for Simmons, but she took it wide. She probably should have taken it first time. It's easy for us to say up here when we can see the keepers up their line. But again, Keegan Good, who has just been so excellent for this Missouri team this season, she can do it all, really. She gets between the boxes, she's two-footed, she can score goals, as Kansas found out to their cost, and she can also put a beautiful pass through to split a defense as she did there. And another good half chance, if you like, for Missouri.
Tigers have recovered since a sloppy early start.
Yep.
There's Buxton, who was looking for McCaslin and just had that one come off her foot a little bit wrong. Pair of 7-win teams are set to battle on Sunday in the SEC. Kentucky, after losing 3 straight to open SEC play, heading to Baton Rouge to take on the LSU Tigers. Catch that game on Sunday afternoon, starting at 2 Eastern on the SEC Network. Entertaining start, though, these first 15 minutes.
It has been, yeah.
Sunday, Mizzou and Vanderbilt were very cagey with one another. It's been a little bit more open in these early minutes tonight. Best set piece chance for the Bulldogs so far, and this is an area where Missouri have shown some weaknesses at times.
Yeah, look for McCaslin to try and get on the end of this.
Mummert just past the far post, but a foul was called regardless against Mississippi State. Missouri will have a free kick. But Stephanie Golan said to us, Simon, that if she were scouting her own team, she would say, you know, let's try to get ourselves some corners, some set pieces to put the ball in the area and see what we can do in the air. Yeah,
absolutely. And that was Mummert there getting her head on the end of that one. She was the one, of course, who scored from the early set piece in the game against LSU the other night. So they, you know, there's multiple threats. There's McCaslin, there's Mummert, they're strong in the air, and the delivery from set pieces that we talked about earlier for Mississippi State has been excellent so far this season. One of the reasons it's contributed to their excellent run.
But Mummert did really well there to shield off Simmons, and then I thought had more options than to put that out for a corner. Might have just come off her foot wrong. Maybe she was hoping to make it a throw, but Missouri will have their first of the evening.
So a chance for them, Missouri, to test Maddie Anderson, who's been excellent between the posts for Mississippi State this season.
You know, one of the best goalkeepers, not only in the conference, but in all of Division I so far this season. Hannah Boughton will take it for Missouri. Not a bad ball. Carrillo was up for it. Odioye, she can hit one from out here. Taken down by a late challenge, and Boughton's cross does not get out of bounds off the deflection from Delois. Alertly done by Anderson to get out there and make the play. And just more evidence of the kind of season that she's having. Simon, look at those numbers.
Yeah, well, you can't argue with those numbers at all. And it was interesting that Coach Armstrong told us that one of the reasons that she's got numbers like this season is she was part of the Jill Leuden's specialist goalkeeping school that Jill runs. And I mean, there are very few keepers that make it into that school. And he thought that she's really benefited from the advice of somebody with the stature of Jill Leuden in the game.
Yeah, it was interesting. James Armstrong used the term internship, which surprised me, but sort of is fitting for what you're trying to take away from it.
Absolutely. And it's really benefited them, hasn't it?
Simmons tried to flick it on, but just missed, and Combs able to thump it clear. Haley McWhorter gets on the end of that, drags Pettit way out wide. Catella just puts that out, so Missouri can find their shape again. That's been a big strong point for the Tigers this year, in contrast to Stephanie Golan's first season. Just how compact they've been, how difficult to break down.
That's the first thing I noticed really after watching them a few games this season is that was exactly it, Nate. How much more compact and organized they've looked, even in games where they've struggled.
Tigers did lose a lot from last season. Some experienced players had to replace 50% of their goals and their assists, and there weren't that many to begin with from last year's team.
Right.
And as mentioned, they have only 4 seniors. Only one of them starts regularly in Jaden Easley, and 2 of them are goalkeepers who haven't seen the field this year. So the Tigers really have only played 2 seniors all season.
And I think, as we mentioned earlier, they are a very young team, and that may be one of the things that's cost them later in games so far this season. But it's a testament to a number of players, right? Bella Hollenbank, particularly, who's been starting in goal for Missouri this season. She's been excellent and has really kept some of those games close when maybe other goalkeepers, it might have been a bigger margin that they would have lost by.
Not a bad idea to go over the top. Boughton was just off the hip of Combs, the last defender, but hit a little too heavy to Anderson. You know, we talked earlier, Simon, about Mississippi State running through challenges, and they have come in a little bit late on a couple of these. Got to keep an eye out. Buxton, in particular, has slid in on both ends of the field now in the last few minutes on Oduyoye, and she has not missed her by much.
Now, Oduyoye is a very tough player, but yeah, there's been 2 or 3 where there have been a late challenge, and I've noticed that too, Nate, and I'm also surprised I haven't noticed. I thought at least that last one might have got a little bit of a talking to from the referee saying, hey, one more and that's a card, but I haven't seen any admonishment as yet from the officials. But you're absolutely right. Mississippi State are putting themselves about a little bit, but this is a Missouri team that is also likes the physical side of the game and can certainly handle it.
Mummert's going to send this one in from near the halfway line. A few Bulldogs queued up just at the top of the 18. Looking for the flick on. It goes over everyone and took a little deflection off Grace Pettit to Bella Hollenbach. Maybe something off the training ground, just didn't quite come off.
Yeah, again, I think they were looking for McCaslin to kind of cause a bit of chaos in the middle of the Missouri defense there as that ball comes in. And she's certainly been doing that a little bit, but Missouri have really worked their way back into this game, and you could probably argue that they've had a couple of the best half chances in the last few minutes. And it's just following the pattern of games that we've seen Missouri play in this year, in that they might be playing a team that's ranked, a team indeed here that hasn't been defeated this season, and yet they are playing them very tough and really hanging in there and giving them a game, and that's what you'd expect.
First substitution of the evening. El McCaslin makes way for Jojo Ngongo, the grad transfer Canadian, Winnipeg, Manitoba, by way of UTEP, the University of Texas at El Paso. Quite the change of scenery from Winnipeg to El Paso to Starkville, Mississippi.
That is a long trip, is it not? And it's a cliche, Nate, isn't it? But it is, I mean, sometimes there's a reason there's a cliche, because there's some truth in it, and that is there are no easy games in the SEC.
Certainly, I think we've seen that borne out in just these last couple of Missouri games. Showed those 4 goals they've conceded in the 75th minute or later. Games that could have gone a different way for them. They had the 3 points in hand with 15 minutes to go on the road against LSU, and had a point into the final couple of minutes against Vanderbilt.
And really, the Vanderbilt game, it was a fluke. It was a fluke goal that put Vanderbilt in the lead. Well, with what, 3 minutes to go in that game, maybe a bit less. And then as Missouri absolutely pushed and darn near got an equalizer, then it was just a crazy breakaway as the clock ran down that led to that second goal. So yeah, they've very much been in every game and were very unlucky against Vanderbilt, I thought.
Nice little bit of control by Wadsworth to turn toward the middle, but Catella gets there. Selm with the space to pick a pass. Easily has a bit of room to the left-hand side, but went for the angled ball in between Simpson and Combs, and that didn't come off. But Simon, as we talked about a little bit earlier, the Tigers just have struggled with their inconsistency this year, in that they've yet to win 2 games in a row, and before these last 2, they hadn't lost 2 in a row either. Just a seesaw season.
That's right, but as we said, the last 2, they were winning late against LSU, and then it got away from them. And yeah, they've been up and down, but that win against Kansas was an excellent win. But the Illinois game was a game really that Coach Golan thought they should have not lost, but should have won. Because of the amount of shots and chances that they had. So again, there have been no blowouts this year for this Missouri team, and it goes back to what we said earlier about they are much more compact, they've been much more organized, and they're playing much more to a system with players that Coach Golan knows well, and they know her style well, and that really pays off in the end here, and you've seen it so far this season. And that's really, if you look at Mississippi State, Nate, 4 seasons on, this is what you've got with Coach Armstrong, isn't it? It's the product of a system that he brought in. They endured some tough times there, as a new coach always is going to, but finally you see the fruit of your labor, and that's what he's enjoying this season.
Nearly 25 minutes in, he'll be pleased, although maybe not as pleased as he was with those first 5 or 10 minutes when his Bulldogs were dominating. Missouri made their first change moments ago. Milena Fisher on in place of Hannah Boughton. Good ball by Good. Bukowski has a lot of space. These wide areas were important to Stephanie Golan's game plan, especially if and when Mississippi State go to that diamond. She wanted to see the Tigers take advantage of the wide areas and try to be dangerous from them.
To me, Nate, if you're going to get at this Mississippi State team, that is the way to do it. You want to go wide. Get wide and go early. And a couple of times we've seen Missouri have a bit of success with that, but then maybe they've dwelt on the ball, taken an extra touch, and the chance is gone. To me, though, the fact that Missouri is still...
Ooh, Wadsworth able to get on the end of it, even with both Missouri center backs there. And Gongo finds Haley McWhirter. Working on Carrillo to the byline. Good cutback ball. Catella got a piece of it. And Missouri able to clear their lines.
And what I was about to say is Kyla Johnson, who's been a big miss for Missouri with her injury, but she is a player who loves to hug the touchline and has got such great skill and fast feet with the ball at her feet. She's the kind of player, I think, if she'd been able to play tonight, she would have really caused Mississippi State some problems. Sadly, though, she's still out with an injury.
Although it does look like Missouri are readying to use one of those wide weapons off the bench, Kylie Dobbs, who's been a super sub for the Tigers this year. Selm taken down by Ngongo, and Missouri will have a free kick. Hollenbach to send it long. Fisher got caught in between. It fell for Simmons, an ambitious effort. Got some of the ball, but not the connection she needed from that distance. And that will create a moment for the substitution. Zukowski makes way, and on comes Kylie Dobbs, who has made that instant impact at times this year. 3 goals to lead the team. And her goals often come very shortly after she enters the game.
Yes, including that goal against Auburn, 17 seconds, which coaches are always going to say that was an inspired piece of substitution. And it certainly proved to be the case in that game.
McWhirter trying to turn on Good. Here's Buxton. Pavat. Goes long for Wadsworth. Catella got her head to it, and Hollenbach alert to stop that from going over the byline for a corner.
And so as McCaslin's gone out of the game, you've seen Wadsworth get pushed forward a lot more than we saw earlier in this game. She's a real danger, of course, for Mississippi State, as we've already talked about too, Nate. But so far, she's struggled a little bit to get into this game. We'll see what she can do now that they've pushed her forward a little bit more in McCaslin's absence.
Mummett tangles with Dobbs. Gets it clear as far as Leah Selm. Ooh, a collision between Fisher and Hodge. Buxton ends up on the ball. Fisher fouled by Buxton, who has been nipping at the heels of a few Missouri Tigers in possession, and finally draws her first whistle.
Again, a lot of just little petty fouls here going on. A lot of them right now coming from Mississippi State, but as a coach, you're not going to mind that if it breaks up the rhythm of the other team coming forward. But yeah, it was a little bit late, that, wasn't it?
First chance for Fisher to send some service into the area. Pettit is first up for it. It falls to Kylie Dobbs, who skied it on her favorite left foot, but just got her head leaning, her back leaning, her shoulders leaning back, and sent it way over the bar.
What a chance for Kylie Dobbs. As the ball came through, I think Pettit drew some defenders, and then the ball dropped to Dobbs on her favored left foot, and just, she really, a rush of blood to the head, because she's like, this is too good to be true. The ball is dropping onto my left foot here, and she got, as you said, Nate, leaning back, maybe a little too, she snatched at that shot just a little bit and smashed it over the crossbar. What a chance for Kylie Dobbs to put Missouri in front.
That would have been within 3 minutes of coming on as well.
Yeah. Great chance. Easily the best chance of the game so far by some margin.
Maggie Wadsworth checks out for Mississippi State, replaced by Hannah Tellish.
Real wake-up call, though, for Mississippi State there, too, though, wasn't it? As the ball came in, Pettit went up for it, drew a couple of defenders, and that's what allowed the ball to just go through and drop to Dobbs, who was probably also a little surprised at where she found herself. Not marked, ball dropping beautifully onto that left foot. And what a great chance. Goes begging for Missouri.
Here's a look at Saturday's Week 5 SEC Network College football lineup. Number 17, Texas A&M against Mississippi State, 4 Eastern, 3 Central. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Number 1, Georgia will be here in Columbia to square off against Missouri in our SEC Saturday night matchup. All games also available streaming live on the ESPN app. Half hour gone. Missouri have 3 shots. Mississippi State yet to register one on target. 9 combined fouls between the two teams. Been a physical game. There's a physical challenge between the two number 12s.
Good play, though.
Selm out for Dobbs. Off on the right side. Can cut in on her left foot. Never shy. It's a good idea, but it was between Carrillo and Good. And that allowed Tellish to turn and send one long for Ngongo to chase.
This is some good play again from Missouri here, forcing Mississippi State into a couple of aimless long balls, and then holding possession and getting the ball back again here with another chance to build.
Selm tried to turn, Buxton there. She is not afraid of a tackle. Dobbs working against Pavat. Stops and starts. Fisher clipped by Buxton, and she's got to be getting up there now. The referee, you would think, is going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I would say that the referee did have a couple of words there, and that has got to be, surely that has to be one more time, and it's a card. Because I think you're right, Nate. That's what, 5, I think? And
Fisher, another lovely weighted ball. Dobbs was there again. It deflected off of her and maybe the back of a Bulldogs defender. Either way, ends up safely in the arms of Anderson.
I think, though, here we're down to, what, less than 13 minutes to go here. Early on in this game, it looked like Mississippi State were really going to take the impetus, but Missouri were able to soak up that early pressure and have really come back into the game. And you could even argue, I think, at this point that they have been slightly the better team. They've certainly had the best chance.
Fisher called for the foul on Hodge, trying to lunge in with that high right boot.
That's all right, though. You're not going to mind that as a coach, because Mississippi State have been quite physical, but you want your team to show you're not going to be intimidated, and you're quite happy to give it out the other way as well. So I don't think that's a challenge that Coach Golan will worry about too much. And, you know, very often your coaches are quite happy to see that you're not going to be cowed by the physical play from the other team.
Sophomore Melina Fisher, who is not too afraid of a physical tackle, considering her prowess going forward. McWhorter trying to find a way through. Grace Pettit, I think, knew she was a little bit out of position to play the ball and just sort of made herself a blockade.
That's what you have to do as a defender, but you've got to be careful how you do it. And she did a really good job, actually, there, yeah.
Pavat over the top, and Ngongo is cut off rather physically by Catella. The referee saw nothing in it.
That was really clever play for me for Catella, because I think Ngongo, Catella knew she was there and just made that run, but made it look like she had her eyes on the ball the whole time. But you know, she knew that she was there and just took her out. That was skillful play.
Dobbs draws Buxton and Pavat. And it's thumped clear for Tigers' throw. Jessica Larson comes on for Missouri along with Jenna Bartles. Jaden Easley and Kylie Simmons off. Meanwhile, Mississippi State make a change as well with Hannah Johnson on in place of Olivia Buxton.
In for number 12, Olivia Buxton. Substituting for Missouri, number 20, Jenna Bartles on for number 3, Jaden Easley. Also in for the Tigers, number 16, Jessica Larson. For number 22, Kylie Simmons.
First touch for Larson. Fisher tried to take it out of a tight area and managed to get herself at least a chance to play a pass. Bartles has to shield off Olivia Simpson. Deloise tangles with her. And Bartles ends up putting it out into the Mississippi State bench for a Bulldogs throw.
This has turned into a really good battle, hasn't it?
It's an interesting combination because the game is, I think, overall pretty open, especially compared to how most Missouri games have gone this year. Yet it's also very physical.
Very physical. But Mississippi State certainly know they're in a game here, without a doubt. And again, it's to what we said before, that this Missouri team have been in every single game that they've played this year. And really, if you looked at the misfortune, they've had a bit of misfortune, a bit of a lack of concentration late in games, you know, we could be talking about a very different story. But they're a team that can go toe-to-toe with any other team in this league, and they're showing that again tonight with a team that's undefeated.
Yeah, you wonder if, based on just their playing style and how some of their games have gone, if Missouri, toward the end of the season, might be one of those teams that sneaks in at the bottom of the SEC tournament, but nobody really wants to play them.
That's an excellent point. And I think this team will make it to the tournament. I really do.
Down in Pensacola this year, after a long time at Orange Beach. Here's Odeoye. Good run by Dobbs, and not a bad idea. Just didn't quite get the connection right. And Mummett steers it out.
Good idea from Odeoye. It was a good ball through, wasn't it, too, and a good run. You could see what she was trying to do there. She tried to take it on in her stride, just wasn't quite able to corral the ball as she made the run. And Mummett was able just to shield it out for a goal kick.
Keegan Good off for Missouri just to get a little breather over the final 8.5 minutes of the first half. She's replaced by Ashlyn Mills, a sophomore, primarily a center back last year, but has played more as a holding midfielder for the Tigers this season. Maybe Stephanie Golan just trying to batten down the hatches and get to halftime at worst 0-0. Over the top for Tellish. Pettit was thinking about going back to her goalkeeper. That was an intelligent decision, though, because Ngongo was lurking. She said, please do. She's going to come off as well. Replaced by Alexis Gutierrez, first-year Bulldog who transferred from St. Mary's in her native California, where she was the West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year last season. Some very impressive transfer resumes on this Mississippi State roster. Hodge flicked in toward Gutierrez. And out for another Bulldogs throw. Brentwood, California native, has played reliable minutes as a substitute this year, although still waiting on her first goal involvement as a Bulldog, even though she has been involved as a substitute in all dozen games. Simpson to throw it. Backing up to get something on this. Into the area. Tellish tries to turn in a crowd. Near post ball for McWhirter. Mississippi State nearly made something out of absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's good defending, though, by Odeoye, wasn't it? Getting in there to the challenge, because it was a great-looking ball in there, but it was her presence that put off the onrushing attacker there. Yeah, it was a really good piece of defending. And still, you'd have to say that was another half chance for Mississippi State, but they have not had a really good look at goal, and we're down to nearly, what, just about 6 minutes left in the half.
Just one shot on goal combined between the two teams, and it was not a particularly threatening header directed toward Maddie Anderson, who easily played it off of bounds. Probably the best chance for either team by some margin, that Kylie Dobbs shot on the cross that just filtered through to her, and she put that over 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, it was by far the best chance of the game.
There's McWhirter. A lot of space Out on that right-hand side for Delois. Maybe forced the long ball a little bit. Could have taken some space, it looked like. Larson combines with Fisher.
It's a nice combination play, and that's a great ball from Fisher.
Bartles is going to get there first. A couple of white shirts in the area. A critical sliding challenge by Simpson, who got a lot of Bartles, but only after she knocked the ball out over the far touchline for a Tigers throw.
Good physical play again, wasn't it? 50-50 ball. Shoulder, and then the challenge. Yeah.
There's a lot on the follow-through, but you can see she does get the ball first
here.
She
does get the ball.
Missouri in tight space is not able to keep the ball under control, and I think the offside flag was up anyway, so that was a comedy of errors for the Tigers in the end.
That's one that they are not going to want to relive, is it?
So a free kick coming from Mississippi State. Probably a little bit disappointed based on the start they got off to, not to have controlled this first half more.
I think so. They certainly came out. Obviously, were looking to get an early goal. Didn't come their way. Missouri have grown into the game. Now, both teams, I think, here, Nate, would be happy to go in scoreless, just to regroup a little bit. If you asked each coach right now, they'd probably take that. But we'll see what Missouri can do here. That's nice play again.
Dobbs has it denied by KK Pavat.
Great piece of fearless defending there by Pavat.
Bulldogs in transition. Gutierrez after it. Pettit takes no chances. Gutierrez tried to drop it off. I guess she thought she had Delois on the overlap. Fisher, nice sliding challenge by Hodge. Tellish got something on it. Mississippi State just frantically trying to keep a foot to the ball, but ultimately ran out of players. Bartles, nice little shuffle back to try to get away from Simpson. Somehow that ball stayed in play.
I don't know how, I know the top spin on that. It looked out all the way, didn't it? And it just span right back and offside. It's got a little scrappy here in the last couple of minutes. Teams giving the ball away, some basic mistakes as we head towards halftime.
Yeah, I always wonder at this stage of the half if the combination of starters whose legs are getting a little bit tired and substitutes who are frantically trying to make an impact on the game leads to a little bit of that in there.
It gets a bit frantic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnson sent it long toward Tellish. Mississippi State not making a lot of an effort to play with the ball on the ground.
Nope.
Although I suppose neither are Missouri.
The ball has spent a lot of time in the air as both teams try to just see if they can play a quick ball through. I'd say, actually, if you weighed up each half, the ball's been on the ground more for Missouri, hasn't it? Sort of possession. They've pressed when they've needed to, but not very much tonight, and instead have tried to just play like this, which is good. It's good patient play. It's a way to control the game a little bit and take the pressure off your defense.
Dobbs slides it through to the feet of Selm. Dobbs might fancy her chances from distance. Not a bad connection, but always going to be difficult to beat a goalkeeper of Anderson's quality from some 25 yards.
Absolutely, Nate, but again, it was on her favored left foot, and it was worth the putt, wasn't it? It really was. Didn't quite get it right again, but it was worth the effort. It was nice combination play again, though, and Dobbs continued to make the run. Definitely worth an effort.
It's one of the things, I think, as a Missouri fan, folks would like about Kylie Dobbs. You know, when she comes on, there are going to be shots on target one way or the other.
Absolutely right, yeah. And that's what the fans, as you said, that's what they want to see.
There's Tellish. Good ball for Gutierrez, who flicked it on unselfishly to McWhirter. Odeyoye had to hustle, and she got the ball first.
Again, another example of Odeyoye knew that when she had to make the challenge, and she had to get the ball, and she did. Otherwise, her team was going to go a goal down. Yeah, really good challenge, wasn't it? But she had to get there, and we'll see it here from behind the goal. She looked second favorite to get there, and she made it.
See what Mississippi State can create in the final minute. Another throw.
And again, certainly, this is where we talked about before. I think both coaches would take a scoreless tie going into halftime. And that looks like the way it's going to go. That throw-in coming to nothing for the Bulldogs.
That was a good sequence, though, for Mississippi State.
Yep.
Playing a couple of angled forward passes, trying to break the lines even with the ball on the ground. Gutierrez with the flick, and McWhirter, it was really a nice turn, and Odioye had to recover beautifully to get there.
To your point, that's the best piece of play we'd seen from them, I think, in the last 10 minutes. And there's plenty there. We saw Coach Armstrong, who looked like he was deep in thought on the bench. Plenty for him to think about here as we approach halftime.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Fisher's ball deflected, and that will be all for the opening 45 minutes. A couple of half chances here and there. Kylie Dobbs had a good one to put Missouri in front, but could not capitalize, and we go goalless into the break. When we get back, Marion Crowder and Ian Carey will be talking SEC soccer. Don't want to miss it. Stay with us. South Carolina and Auburn over Vanderbilt. Tennessee and Ole Miss are goalless at the half as well. Kentucky will be at LSU on Sunday, and Rice against Texas A&M in that all Lone Star State matchup in the evening. Meanwhile here, a couple of teams with a lot to play for in the final 45 minutes. Mississippi State trying to remain unbeaten through a dozen games and potentially remain perfect with a 4th win in 4 in the SEC. It would be their 7th straight win overall. Meanwhile, Missouri trying to right the ship a little bit. And if the Tigers do get back to 2-2, especially if those 2 wins in the league are both ranked opponents at Walton Stadium, I think they'd feel okay considering the disappointments of the last couple of games.
I think you're absolutely right. If they could pull that off, they would definitely feel okay about it.
Kylie Dobbs getting the start to begin the second half, not uncommon. Yeah. She comes off the bench in the first half and stays out there to begin the second. Wadsworth just couldn't keep that in play along the nearby touchline. Hodge, nicely done to Delois. Tries to go down the line for Wadsworth. Pettit's going to try to shield it all the way out. Couldn't do it, but gets rid of it toward Carrillo. Last off of the Missouri left back, much to her chagrin. Looked like based on the angle that went out, it might have caught Delois. But a throw in for Simpson in Mississippi State. Here comes Leah Selm. Good timing on that ball to Fisher. Fisher trying to switch the play. She clears Pavat and finds easily in stride. Heavy first touch. Simmons is in the middle. Tries to cut it back for Simmons, and it's taken by Hodge back for the Bulldogs.
Great ball from Fisher, though, wasn't it? That's what she can do, though. She can really drop that ball onto the head of a needle if she has to, and she did that very easily. And you're right, Nate, it was the heavy first touch that just took the momentum away, and it was that split second that made the difference. But here's another lovely ball from Keegan Good, and now she's got another crack at it.
Easily with her left, took a deflection, but Anderson kept it from going over that byline for a corner.
Good effort. And Missouri, early in this half, using that right wing and Jaden Easley as the outlet here, just with a couple of half chances again. Another great pass from Keegan Good, though.
I'm not sure that could have been better.
Yeah, you could not have made it a better ball, you're right.
Looked like a decent connection from Easley as well with the left foot. Just took the deflection right away off of Mummett. Combs is there. McWhirter. Simpson down the line for McCaslin, who had almost no space with which to work. I think McCaslin will have pretty fresh legs early in this second half. She was the first to come off for the Dogs inside the first 25 minutes. Here she goes past Carrillo. Selm over to close her down. Physical challenge. Selm didn't get any of the ball there, it didn't look like.
It was good work from Selm, though. She pushed McCaslin sort of wide and had her headed for the corner in the end. I'm not even sure in the end that there was any need for a challenge. And McCaslin, again, hobbling out of that challenge, not for the first time tonight, on that heavily strapped left leg.
She does sort of get the ball
but
going between McCaslin's legs. I think that's a foul for me.
But here's the thing. Both her feet came off the ground there, Nate, and you've got to really be careful. If both your feet are off the ground, referees take a very dim view of that.
High arcing ball. Oduyoye trying to shield off the physical Buxton, and she does well to clear it away. But on second look, if you were the referee, free kick?
Possibly. Maybe a talking to for Selm, that's for sure. But, you know, credit to McCaslin, she puts herself about a bit, so, you know, she knows she's going to get hit a few times, and she just got up and got on with it.
Mississippi State throw from KK Pavat. Didn't see any game action last year. After 13 starts as a freshman, she was injured in the preseason. She's played a big part in that really good Mississippi State backline. Difficult to break down this year. Oh, there's a sloppy giveaway by Catella. Wadsworth tried to find some options, looking for McWhirter. Given away by Hodge.
Missouri escaped there, and you don't see many mistakes from Catella this season, but that was one that could have cost their team, and in the end, Missouri escaped.
Fisher and Simmons ganged up on Hodge, and it's a Missouri throw.
I think you have to think about what did Coach Armstrong say to his team at halftime, and I would guess that he probably said, hey, we just need to settle down a little bit. We've been taken out of our stride in our game. Let's just settle down a little bit, try and keep a bit more possession and a bit more composure when we've got the ball, and see where we can go from there. And he's very frustrated there, as you could see.
I was going to say, speaking of composure.
Yes. But you know what? He's the coach. He's asking his team to be composed. But you know what? That's very often teams sort of draw from their coaches and the coach's demeanor on the touchline. So as a head coach, I think all head coaches are aware of that. And sometimes you've got to be very careful because your team is always looking at you as the head coach. What's your demeanor like? What are you like at certain points in the game? And you know, it's something that does not go unnoticed by your players, that's for sure.
Selm just got there again in front of McWhirter in the referee's estimation. Another risky challenge by Leah Selm.
She got all ball there, though, so I think she was okay there. I think the problem with it earlier for me, anyway, was just that we're 2 feet off the ground. And that's when you've really got to be careful. You should not be going into a tackle these days with 2 feet off the ground.
Back when you were growing up, that was fair game?
Oh, yeah, it was fair game. It was fair game, and I'm not going to go into one of these boring old rants about, you know, back in my day.
The game's gone.
The game's gone. The game has not gone, actually. The game has got way better.
It's a foul called against Oduyoye, and McCaslin earns one there in a dangerous area.
I'm not sure about that. That looked 50-50 to me. But again, McCaslin's done well for her team there to win that free kick, and there's a real opportunity here for Mississippi State.
McWhirter to take it. Missouri's marking is abysmal at the moment, going for Hodge, and the ball was just pinged too hard, and Missouri able to get it clear. That was a disaster class defensively for the Tigers, but they escaped.
Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, you talk about zonal marking where you're marking a space, but when there's a free kick in that situation, that's not something I'm going for. I'm saying you know your player and you're on him.
Hodge, you can't really see it on that replay, but Hodge was unmarked. I think McWhirter just picked the wrong ball. She needed to play that in the air to the near post, and Hodge might have been able to ghost in with nobody on her.
I don't think that was zonal marking, Nate. I think it was some marking gone awry.
Selm realized she was the only one at the near post guarding two and was looking over her shoulder at her teammates saying, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So Pavat's going to take a corner here for the Bulldogs. They're second of the night.
It's a good delivery again. You get that from them.
Riley Combs, it's loose in front. Wadsworth got a touch. Hollenbach kept it out. Still loose at the penalty spot. Back for another effort denied by Hollenbach. Delois turned away. Missouri survived.
Bella Hollenbach, that's why she's starting this season, and that you'd think had to be a late challenge. Bella Hollenbach, what the first save, absolutely astounding how she got down low. It's a great header. Look at that, down to her right, she gets down, she stops it with her legs, and then followed up, she's recovered, gained her composure, gets across to that one to palm it away. What great goalkeeping from Hollenbach. 2 tremendous saves in the space of, what, just a few seconds. That's why she's starting for this Missouri team.
And the substitutes over on the Missouri bench were still going wild. They loved that from Bella Hollenbach.
I'm still not sure how Missouri have not conceded there, but thanks to their goalkeeper, and that's not the first time this has happened this season, they are still in the game.
It was Riley Combs who had that first header, the sophomore from O'Fallon, Missouri, 2-time Missouri State champion center back at St. Dominic High School. Almost scored in her return to her home state, turned away by Hollenbach, and then Delois got absolutely everything on that back pass outside the area from 22, 23 yards out. She crushed that shot, just not rewarded.
And what we've talked about, Nate, a lot, and I was particularly impressed with, is the delivery from set pieces for Mississippi State. Great corner.
And McCaslin just came up lame.
She's been hobbling around all night, and now it's finally gone.
That's not a good sign. McCaslin not able to get off under her own power.
You hate to see that, don't you?
She just came up lame. Midwestern kid herself from St. Charles, Illinois. Played just 63 combined minutes over her first couple of seasons. She's more than quintupled that number this year. Plus her first career goal against Presbyterian, which came after her first career assist against Southern Mississippi in back-to-back games earlier this month, and she looks to be in a lot of pain. You feel just terrible for her.
She's been playing with that hamstring strap for a while. Tough player, really tough player.
We talked to James Armstrong this week, and he was feeling pretty good about not only, of course, he was effusive in his praise of her, but feeling pretty good about where his team was at from a health standpoint. And it just can go so quickly. McCaslin had been playing a great game as well.
She really had, and you just hate to see that, don't you? But anyway, we'll see that last sequence. Great corner, there's the header. Hollenbach gets down, manages to save the rebound too with her feet, and then a shot, goal bound. It looked like a goal all the way. She gets across, claws it away. Fantastic double save by Hollenbach. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
And Gongo offside, and Missouri will have a free kick. I think Hollenbach, her statistics probably are a little bit misleading. She has been victimized by some late goals, some errors at the back from Missouri defensively. At times the Tigers just have not supported her. Not that she's been perfect by any stretch, still a redshirt freshman, but I think a player who has been really excellent for Missouri this year.
And you can see though, right, Nate, as a redshirt freshman, how she's got the starting gig this year for Missouri. And you're right, the 2 goals against Vanderbilt, there was nothing she could do. The first one was a fluke, and the second one, well, it was a breakaway. She'd already come up, so. But she was fantastic, and what a great piece of play that was.
You wonder if Maddie Anderson at the other end for Mississippi State might get the chance, a similar sequence in which she can flex her medal, because we have 2 really, really capable goalkeepers in this game, and Anderson has the statistics to back that up. One of the best in the country so far this year. One of them getting ready to play the ball in, and Hollenbach waiting for it. Goalkeeper against goalkeeper. That's what we need this game to end. Need to bring back extra time, bring back penalties, flicked on by Wadsworth and stopped by Hollenbach. We need this game to end with Hollenbach and Anderson shooting against one another from the spot.
Yeah, it always gets dramatic when it comes down to the goalkeepers, but the thing is tonight, Anderson, though, hasn't really had that much to do, has she? I mean, Missouri's best chance went over the top, so she wasn't forced into a save, really. Not the case with Hollenbach there.
Anderson's going to take another free kick from a similar position. This one's hammered. And It's out rather harmlessly over everyone, and Grace Pettit's a little frustrated because Ngongo just took a whack at the back of her legs as that ball was going out over the byline. Maybe it was incidental contact, but Grace Pettit turned around and said, "What was that?"
Get another look at that. It's the long ball, bit of a waste, wasn't it, in the end? Pettit just shielding it out, just shepherding it out.
Ooh, that is a little naughty.
That is naughty. That's a card all night long if either the referee's assistant or the ref sees it, and it looks like both of them missed it. That was a bit naughty.
Olivia Buxton got that through Odeoye's legs, but Catella waiting.
And you wonder too, Nate, sometimes when the referee's been fairly lenient, as I think he has tonight, we've not even seen a card yet, that then after a while, after an hour or so of that leniency, some players think they can get away with stuff. And that tends to creep into the mentality of the game. And I think what we're going to have to see here is the referee maybe coming down a little bit harder on some of this stuff as this game progresses here into the last half hour. This is trouble again for Missouri. McWhirter, who again, her delivery is just excellent most of the time from corners. And it led to a bit of trouble for Missouri last time. Here's another good kick.
Back post, Combs gets another chance. Again in front, it was loose for Wadsworth, and Hollenbach is there. But we talked about it with Stephanie Golan. She pinpointed it, that this has been a problem for Missouri, and with Mississippi State's size, it would be a big problem tonight, and she was exactly right.
And McWhirter just puts in such consistently excellent deliveries from corners. And it caused problems all night for LSU in their last game, and it's caused Missouri a hatful of problems tonight, hasn't it?
Dobbs tried to turn on Simpson. Well done by Simpson, showing some of her experience. Wait on Dobbs to get there and put it out off of her for a Bulldogs throw. By the way, I was just joking around with the whole penalty situation of Anderson and Hollenbach taking them against each other. Maddie Anderson has a penalty goal in her career.
She does, huh?
She took one during gameplay in the 78th minute last year, not even in a shootout, 78th minute against Ole Miss in the final game of the season last year, and scored it. Wadsworth taken down by Pettit, who's fortunate to avoid a whistle.
Well, when I've seen goalkeepers take penalties, usually they just go for power. They just smash it like it's a goal kick. But it can be entertaining.
Yeah, I was entertained watching Keppa put one into the 45th row last year. Easily knocked down. She doesn't get the whistle either, so the referee's continuing to allow a lot to go. At the other end, to me, that looked like maybe a foul on Grace Pettit. We'd have to get a second look to know for sure, but certainly physical play has been tolerated this evening.
Yeah, it's been a very physical game.
I guess the referee did give a foul there because Missouri have a free kick. It looked like he was just pointing for the throw. Simmons was up for it. Mississippi State got there first, and Simpson clears it. Every Saturday, Marty and McGee and SEC Nation bring you extensive SEC game previews with the latest news from around the conference that you won't find anywhere else. This week, the guys will be in Oxford, Mississippi at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 Central, followed by a 2-hour SEC Nation. It takes you right up to kickoff. Both are right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Another good crowd tonight on what has turned into a chilly Friday evening in mid-Missouri. Crowds have been good all season long. It's one of the things that Missouri wanted out of making soccer games free to the public here in Columbia, and fans have showed up this year for year 2 under Stephanie Golan, even now when it's not sunny and 75 for every game, and they're trying to give their home team a little bit of energy here over the final half hour.
Just eyeballing it there, you can see it in the shot. That's a good crowd. That's a really good crowd.
Ball hasn't been at this end very often since halftime. And the crowd excited about the ball down in Mississippi State's final third. Easley in a little tango with Buxton, who wins the throw for Mississippi State. Two teams are just exchanging throw-ins on that far side. Just gotten a little bit aimless.
Yep, it's just gone into a lull, hasn't it, this game a little bit?
Record in 1-goal games, Mississippi State perfect at 4-0. Missouri have dropped 3 out of 6, but that gives you a feel for how competitive Tigers games have been this year. 6 out of 10 decided by 1 goal.
It does, doesn't it?
Of course, they've had a draw on top of that as well. Zingongo against Pettit. And Pettit had the last touch, so it's off the Tigers captain for a Mississippi State corner. The 5th of the night now for the Bulldogs. And all of these are at least DEFCON 3 from Mizzou.
Well, they've not been alone this season, that's for sure. And it's not going to be McWhirter this time, is it? Coming across to take the kick.
Now it's going to be
Pavat.
KK Pavat
Yeah,
instead.
and she, with the right foot, but she still puts in a quality ball as well.
Former 2-time Arkansas Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, who's come back in a big way from her injury. Good ball looking for Combs. It's loose at the far post. And again, Wadsworth is denied either by Hollenbach or the far post.
I think it was Hollenbach. Denied by Hollenbach again. Every corner is causing mayhem for Missouri. And again, Hollenbach, I'm sure it was her, she got down and blocked it with her leg. A great save again. No, it was off the post, Nate, you're right. And then Hollenbach followed it, but you're right, off the post.
Wow, with
It looked
Wadsworth's,
like it was- yep.
with Wadsworth's goal-scoring form, you would have thought for sure she would put that away. Here she is again. Hollenbach gets a punch to it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You've got better eyes than me, Nate. Off the post, but then Hollenbach did well, and Hollenbach did well there too.
And is that Pettit who stayed down for Missouri? What a devastating blow that would be if Pettit has to miss even any time in this game with how the Tigers are struggling to defend balls in the air.
Unsurprisingly, Pettit is up, but oh. Wow. Down she comes, and Grace, that she lands on top of Grace Pettit there. Look at that.
Talk about a sandwich.
Yes. I mean, Pettit just got crushed.
Oh, man.
I think it was Wadsworth, wasn't it, who came down on top of her on the ground, and boy, she hopped right back up again. You got to be
closing down on Anderson.
You got to be tough to be a center half.
And the two of them go right back into the air against one another. Here's McWhirter. Got a little bit of space. Drives on Catella, who slides in beautifully to win the ball.
Another great challenge, and how many times have we said it tonight? If you're going to go to ground inside the box, you've got to get the ball. She did. And now Mississippi State really starting to turn the screw a little bit here. They've come very close. They've nearly scored 3 times from corners, and now they come forward again.
It's been all Bulldogs since the break.
Yep.
Simpson, Wadsworth didn't get anything, and then clattered into Carrillo.
And
Combs shields off Simmons and was fouled. Get another look at Catella, maybe a goal-saving challenge.
yeah, McWhirter just lining this up, and then Catella right there. Really good tackle, wasn't it? The ball was right there. She got down, got the challenge in. Excellent play.
Missouri's only transfer from Arkansas State.
But what a successful partnership that she struck up with Pettit, right? I mean, Missouri have struggled a bit this year, but if it wasn't for those two, it would have been a lot worse. And Catella's been excellent coming straight into this team and forming that partnership. That's great play from Fisher.
Fisher just went right by Combs. Simmons has to get rid of this quickly and accurately to Easley. Fisher's ahead of her. The ball needs to come early, but Easley put her head down, tried to go past Pavat. And the ball's going to roll out for a Missouri throw. That might have been on had Easley been able to pick her head up and get that ball right on her first or second touch from Elena Fisher.
Yeah, the first touch wasn't quite there, and then it took her wide, didn't it? But nonetheless, just the seconds here for Missouri to relieve some of the pressure that they've been under. And they'll take it and maybe try to hold the ball down at this end of the field just for a little bit to give the defense a bit of a break here.
Couple of Missouri substitutions. Elena Sikowski back on along with Jessica Larson in place of Kylie Dobbs and Kylie Simmons, respectively. Wadsworth takes a bump from Catella. The referee says play on. Good, able to turn. Zakowski goes past Simpson, I should say, for a moment. Hodge off the back of Good's head. Buxton clipped by Selm. And Ngongo finds Simpson. She did well to hold it up.
Yeah, it was good hold-up play, wasn't it? But then given away cheaply in the end by the Bulldogs. But it's coming right back to them.
Substitution coming for Mississippi State. Looks like Tellish is going to come back on. Make that Lucy Hirsch, true freshman from Melissa, Texas. It's just her 7th appearance of the season, and she makes her first appearance tonight in place of Ngongo. Although Hurst has now appeared in all 4 SEC games, just spot minutes here and there, 27 combined over the first 3 matches in conference play for the Bulldogs. Wadsworth and Pettit, they've been in each other's space this entire second half.
It's been a real battle, hasn't it, between those two? It's a good
Delois, good ball toward McWhirter, who was shielded off very nicely by Keek, and Good, showing some center back instincts.
Good defending by Good, wasn't it? Because McWhirter was trying everything she could to get on that. It was a good-looking ball into the box there. Yeah, it was good work by Good again.
But Missouri hardly able to take a touch or two before giving the ball right back to the Bulldogs.
Yeah, the intensity level by the Bulldogs this half has just been so much better than it was for them in the first half, hasn't it? And that's really made a difference here. Missouri have been under pressure most of this half, and yet are still hanging in there with just over 20 minutes left.
Delois. Mehmet looked like maybe she was going to put it out of play, but Pavad able to get there. Simpson. And through to Hollenbach.
Just not much control from Missouri here at the moment. They need to just try and get the foot on the ball and string a few passes together just to take some of the pressure off their keeper in the back 4 if they can. Keeps coming straight back.
And Delois, good header.
Sorry, Nate. At some point, you would think that Mississippi State would want to turn this pressure that they've had near constant in this half into a goal. They've been pretty darn close, and it's the post and the goalkeeper that's denied them so far, plus some excellent defending. But you have to think at some point that the dam's going to crack.
Hannah Johnson back on in place of Maggie Wadsworth. State have been about as close as you can be without scoring in this half, especially when you consider an amalgamation of the chances. Oh, this was a little bit awkward for a moment.
That ball stood up for a second, didn't it?
And I think Anderson thought Mummett was going to get it. She thought it was going to go through easily to the goalkeeper, and so she ran out wide to create an angle for a pass.
Just for a split second there, it did look like Missouri were going to get a chance one-on-one. There's a shirt.
Fisher's
there,
pulled
surely
back by Hodge. That should be a booking after the play is called back.
It should be. It was a good advantage. It should be a yellow card.
Simpson puts it out for a throw.
The referee to go and give a card here.
Doesn't look like he's going to. Maybe he will. Hold on. He blew the whistle, but that's for a substitution. He's going to allow Hodge to get away without a yellow card for this, which was blatant.
I think, a jersey pull is basically a yellow card, is it not?
That's just awfully cynical.
A 2 + 2 = 4 kind of thing.
And Missouri just went offside off that throw. That's the second time the Tigers have been offside off a return pass from a throw, and there's really no excuse for that.
There isn't, and that's the kind of thing that will upset Coach Golan too, because that's just concentration. Back to the refereeing, though, we've talked a bit about how the referee has let the game go tonight. I think at times maybe a little too much, but usually a shirt grab like that is an automatic yellow, and still no yellow card.
And normally you see it in that the context of the foul being considered. Of course, there's no real malice in that. It's not dangerous in any substantial way, but just not a particularly sporting play.
It was an attempt to thwart a counter-attack, and the referee played a good advantage, but then normally will come back after the fact.
Zukowski couldn't keep it in. Simpson will have a throw. At this point, considering how the second half has gone, of course, you don't want to admit defeat, or this wouldn't be admitting defeat, but admit something less than an attempted victory. If you were Stephanie Golan, would you be tempted to try to park the bus a little bit over the final 17 and a half and just save a point? Because you have to say Mississippi State are favorites at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, possibly, but I'm not sure that she's a fan of doing that. I think she'd say, yeah, I'll try and park the bus as much as I can, but we still want to hit on the counter-attack, because at this point, you know that's Missouri's best chance, but right now they've got more defending to do.
These set pieces have been disastrous for Missouri in the second half, or near disastrous. This is the most harmless of the bunch so far. It's still loose for a moment. Catella gets it out to Fisher. Let's see if the Tigers can turn on the brake here.
And here's what we were talking about, right? Counter-attack. This is going to be Missouri's best chance, I think, here.
Nicely brought down by Larson. Boughton is with her through the middle and just takes the ball nearly off her foot. Zukowski is alone on this near left side.
Was that 1 against 6, Nate, there for a second? It's a good ball in.
Oh, that nearly flicked on through. It was either Selm or Zukowski, and in the end, Selm got enough of it to steer it away from her teammate.
It's a good ball in just for a split second again, like you said, yeah, in the end, she did steer it away from her teammate, didn't she? Oh, so frustrating for Missouri. That was probably their best look at goal in this whole second half. And here come Mississippi State again.
Hurst bumps into Selm, and the foul is given a little bit late. The Missouri crowd had started already to berate the referee before he had a chance to raise the whistle to his mouth.
Home fans getting a little bit antsy with some of these decisions, or lack of decisions. That wasn't the worst one we've seen all night by any means, was it?
Inside the final 16 minutes. Odeyoye has a little bit of space. Missouri have a few white shirts forward. Boughton can send a good ball in. Hodge with a good defensive header, thumped that all the way out and over the far sideline for a Missouri throw. Fisher has that taken off her foot by Mummett for a Missouri corner. Only the second of the night for the Tigers, who this year have had a lot of corners, among the nation's leaders in that category. Not so many this evening, but at this point it only takes one.
Yeah, two German players there together. Now we'll see what Fisher can do. Can she get in a quality delivery and cause a bit of panic at the back of Mississippi State's defense?
Fisher sends it in.
It's a good one.
Carrillo. Four players come together. Out for Catella. Down for Selm. Fisher wants it. Another cross in. Grace Pettit tries to go past Pavat, and it's cleared for a Missouri throw.
Bit of good pressure there from Missouri. We've not seen much of it from them in this half. And if you can call, what, 30, 45 seconds of pressure, sustained pressure, that's as much as Missouri have really had. And it all stemmed from the corner. It was a good delivery from Fisher, and Mississippi State weren't entirely convincing in dealing with it.
The Tigers had the only shot on goal in the first half. Mississippi State have had all 6 in the second half.
And that's the story of the half, isn't it? Yeah. Much better performance from Mississippi State, who sort of turned it up a little bit here in the second half, I'm sure, after a talking to from their coach at halftime, and here they come again.
McWhorter looking for Johnson.
Still though, Missouri continue to frustrate that 21st ranked team in the nation. Under 15 to go.
Due to Hurricane Ian, quarterback Anthony Richardson and Florida host Eastern Washington at the Swamp on Sunday afternoon. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus. To watch the game, go to ESPNplus.com or download the ESPN app. Once again, that's Florida and Eastern Washington moved to Sunday at noon Eastern. Hannah Tellish back on, a target in the middle for Mississippi State in place of Lucy Hurst. But that's a harmless ball out for a Mizzou goal kick into the final 13 minutes of the night. And again, Simon, this is an example of why if you were in Coach Armstrong's shoes, you might be a little frustrated there's no possibility of overtime tonight, because if Missouri were staring at another half hour or so of having to see this game out, that would be a much more difficult proposition rather than 12 minutes and change.
Right, so to me, that's proving my point about draws and the value of a tie or a draw. Well, not tie or a draw.
Missouri frustrated again that the referee has stopped play for an injury. This is Riley Combs.
But it's not a head injury, is it? Was it a head injury? I don't think it was. So.
Combs, the sophomore from the St. Louis area, just took an awkward tumble there, and you can see she has the heavy brace on her left knee.
Yeah.
Dramatically bigger role this year. James Armstrong was giving her a lot of praise, said she worked really, really hard in the offseason and has been able to contribute this year in a completely different way. More than tripled her minutes from last season. She's going to stay in the game, which will probably just serve to exacerbate Missouri's frustration that the game was stopped. Catella had Tellish closing down on her. That ball got over Boughton and awkwardly off Pavat. Here comes Hodge. Out for Tellish. They'd probably rather have her in the middle and one of her teammates on the outside.
Yep.
Odioye gets it clear. Pavat. Good looking ball off her foot, but nobody's near it.
So to your point earlier, Nate, that we were talking about the draw, I feel like you're proving my point about the draw, though, because, yeah, certainly Coach Armstrong would be frustrated if it does stay like this, that he doesn't get another half hour to knock on Missouri's door. But on the other hand, fighting performances should be rewarded. And that's what you've got from Missouri so far this evening, certainly in the second half, where they've been really under pressure most of the game. And that's what a draw does for me. So, again, just reiterating earlier, that's why I've been surprised to hear a number of the coaches say that they don't like them at all. In fact, almost to a man and woman, the head coaches we've talked to have said, no, ditch the ties.
And it's interesting, to your earlier point, that there has been no meaningful delineation that we've picked up on between, say, the American coaches and the European coaches and their feeling about it. It's been pretty much unanimous.
It has been, which did surprise me a little bit.
I think some of it has to do with just the headache of conference tournament seeding and especially RPI and how unpredictable draws can make those things that coaches just want more predictability. Yeah,
and in Coach Hopper, when we were doing the Auburn game, that's basically what she said, wasn't it?
Deloy sends in another good ball toward the penalty spot. It's loose. Looked like Buxton had straight offside. The referee's flag or assistant's flag stayed down, and it's a throw for Mississippi State. Missouri have a couple of substitutions waiting as Delois takes her time with the throw. Tellish, you wonder sometimes what the goal is, because both of these teams have played even some decent looking balls. There's nothing wrong with that one, but nobody is remotely in the area. There's really no purpose to that.
Nope. It was probably the easiest piece of work that Hollenbach's had in this second half, wasn't it, really?
Fisher has at times looked Missouri's most dangerous player in the second half on the ball.
Absolutely she has.
Gets that loose to Larson. And there's a couple of options. Here's Fisher in the area. Fisher against Buxton, maybe just trying to win a corner, and that stayed in play.
I still feel, Nate, though, we're down to less than 10 minutes. I still feel there's a goal in this game. I really do.
I wondered for a moment there with Buxton taking Fisher to the byline if she might just get a little bit greedy. That's what you think about in these stages, is somebody just sticking a foot in, tired legs and what have you, just catching a heel, catching a toe.
Nice piece of play.
Simpson just wore that one, and she didn't even stop.
She went through it.
And the referee just called it back for handball against Simpson. That would explain why she didn't slow down. Oh yeah, that wasn't in the midsection or the face like I thought.
Really nice piece of play right before that incident from Keegan Good, though, which again shows why Coach Golan rates her so highly. The ball popped up, she brought it down, put her foot on it, and just laid the ball off, kept possession, broke up an attack. Great play.
Wonderful control from Zukowski off that long ball from Hollenbach.
It was a good ball in too, wasn't it? But nobody was really attacking it till too late.
Catella has had a couple of options these last two sequences and gone a bit wildly. Hannah Boughton, she's been good off this right-hand side in the second half. Working on Pavot, it's off Mummett, and Missouri have a throw. Or I should say a corner.
And again, it was Fisher to Boughton, wasn't it, Nate? To what you were saying before, Fisher's been excellent for Missouri in the second half, getting a foot on the ball, playing some beautiful passes, which is her strength, some quality deliveries, relieving some of the pressure just for an instant on her back four, but also setting up some of Missouri's best attacking opportunities in this half. And now they've got a corner. What can they do with this?
Larson and Zukowski off. Simmons back on along with Kylie Dobbs, who interestingly is going to go out to take this corner with her left foot. So this is going to be an in-swing. Mississippi State counter with a couple of changes. Wadsworth and Ngongo back on.
Dobbs is good with her left foot. We'll see what she can do. It needs to be a good quality delivery.
Ngongo gets it clear.
She just hung it up a bit too much for me. She probably wanted a bit more whip, a bit more speed, a bit more pace, a bit flatter delivery on that corner.
Selm, just slips and tumbles at a critical moment. Delois, creative ball with the outside of that right foot into the path of Wadsworth, and Catella has to put it out.
As the temperature drops here and we get late in this game, the surface is getting a little greasy.
Oh, it's a throw for Missouri. That took a little clip off of Wadsworth on the way out. Catella was calling for it right away, and the referee's assistant on the far side gave it to her. And a foul called against Boughton. Awfully ticky-tack based on the standard that's been set tonight. Minutes have melted off the clock in the second half. Far too fast for Mississippi State's liking, that's for certain. Inside 6.5 minutes, and their perfect SEC record is in serious jeopardy. Anderson sends it long. Over Catella. Pettit and Ngongo there for it, and Odioye thumps it clear. Simmons tries to turn it up that sideline on Pavot. There's Fisher.
Good
goes
work
by
again
one.
From Fisher.
Just couldn't find Hannah Boughton.
Find the pass, could she?
Pettit tried to go back to the middle for Keegan Good. Missouri could be caught out here, and Ngongo has a little bit of space. Odioye closing down. Ngongo couldn't corral the pass. She's hit by Odioye. No whistle. Here's Olivia Buxton, the freshman. Buxton, the Missourian. Just had that get away from her.
Now that looked like a foul on Ngongo to me, but no foul given.
And that would have been a dangerous area.
It would have been in a very dangerous area late in the game, wouldn't it? It looked like a foul. And then Buxton did have a good shooting opportunity. Just right here, you thought, but yeah, she just sliced across the ball, didn't she? And in the end, it's quite a long distance wide of Hollenbach's goal. Didn't even work the keeper there.
One of a couple of young Show Me State natives on this Mississippi State roster. Buxton, a former two-time All-State selection at Fredericktown High School. Both of them played their club soccer at Scott Gallagher and the St. Louis area, and James Armstrong had great things to say about that club. It does seem, when we've had our conversations with coaches across the SEC, seems like the relationships built with the clubs and the individual club coaches play such a big part in recruiting, and
very much so.
How comfortable these coaches are saying, if I bring a player from that club who's played for that coach, I know they're going to be ready to meet the standards that I want.
And I mean, Scott Gallagher is just a famous name, isn't it? In soccer in St. Louis area.
Of course, things changing a little bit in all the markets that have MLS teams, which now includes St. Louis with
development teams,
development academies of the MLS teams, and St. Louis City certainly pouring a lot of resources into the academy. But Scott Gallagher certainly will continue to be a force. Mehmet, that was a little sloppy. Here's Kylie Dobbs, and she wins a Missouri corner.
Very sloppy from Mehmet, which you would not accept this late in the game. And Dobbs was onto that in an instant. And firing a goal with her right foot. Good block in the end. It was a great piece of defending, wasn't it, from Olivia Simpson, who certainly felt the effects of that block. But she kind of bailed her team out there from what would have been a late in the game disaster here, from probably one of the players you'd least expect it from on Mississippi State's team.
Mumbert has been so consistent. Ball sent into the back post, and she's the one to get the clearing header. So that makes up for her error.
That shot from Dobbs looked on target to me as well. I think that was going to create some problems for the keeper.
Oh, Mississippi State tried to take that quickly. Milena Fisher ended up on the ball with a chance to put that in the back of the net because Anderson was out of the goal.
And the referee then, I don't...
Interesting.
So, we'll see that again here. So we see, here's the challenge. There's the foul. No doubt that it's a foul. The ball comes back. She goes to take it quickly. And then the referee blows the whistle, I think. That was the sequence there.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. But Missouri still on the attack here. Fisher's been just excellent for Missouri here in this second half. Everything's been going through her, and Missouri's most dangerous moments have been going through her or coming from her. But again, a piece of, would the word be slightly eccentric refereeing possibly there?
Now it is, as compared to what you would see, say, in the Premier League game or the professional game, it is a bit unusual to see free kicks taken quickly in the SEC, and oftentimes referees will want to get in position and then blow the whistle again to allow a free kick to be taken. But it certainly looked like Simpson took that free kick with the intention of restarting play.
That's what it looked like, absolutely. And I actually, in the end, think it was the reaction of Riley Combs there, who just kind of walked away from the ball, that maybe the referee said, no, I'm bringing that back. And that was probably, in the end, a good piece of play that benefited her team here. And we've got, what, 2 minutes to play? It's all getting a little chippy. The crowd, the home crowd anyway, not very happy with the way the last few minutes have gone here.
There's Ngongo.
And this is where Missouri have struggled, isn't it? Late in games, so can they keep their heads in this game, concentrate, and not give it away? If you're a Missouri fan, obviously that's what you're hoping for.
Simmons against Mumbert, who did very well. Nicely done with her head. And in the end puts it out for a Missouri throw inside the final 80 seconds. The Tigers survived an onslaught in the second half from Mississippi State. One good chance after another. One saved off the line by a sprawling Hollenbach. Then a diving stop on the follow-up. Then a corner just minutes later, where an eventual scramble led to a Wadsworth chance put off the upright. But Missouri weathered the storm, and they're 50 seconds away from picking up a 4th point out of 4 games in the SEC.
And I thought there was another goal in this game. Now this last chance is going to go to Mississippi State here. Coach Golan not happy with the award of the free kick, but a chance for the Bulldogs to get the ball into Missouri's area here at the death.
Anderson to send it long. Inside 20 seconds, it's out for Combs. Final 15 seconds, taken by Fisher. Sends it long for Kylie Simmons. Dobbs has to stay on side. It works out for Missouri here. Inside 5 seconds. Hannah Boughton can get something away. Boughton at the horn. It's stopped by Anderson, and the game ends goalless. Mississippi State devoted numbers forward. They were nearly caught out. Instead, they dropped their first points in SEC play, but remain unbeaten through a dozen games. A hard-fought 0-0 draw.
A very hard-fought 0-0 draw for sure, Nate. Missouri, I think, edged the first half. Mississippi State came out of the traps